Okay, welcome in. I'm just a day or two behind when it comes to reviewing the hockey. I think I've said this in the past that I would love to be able to show highlights, but every time I click on a highlight, I always have an ad pop up in the middle of it. It just ruins the goal for myself at least. So I'll just go back to telling you who scored, who won, and then once I'm caught up to date after my Tuesday prediction or Tuesday recap, I'll go over the standings and the NHL. So Monday, I believe there was a total of 6 games, if I'm not mistaken. The Montreal Canadiens played host to the Edmonton Oilers. There was no scoring in the first. Brendan Gallagher would break the tie with 31 seconds to go in the second, getting his 8th goal of the year, assisted by Matheson. In the third period, Caden Gurley would get his second goal of the season from Caulfield and Evans, 5:52 of the third. And then the Oilers would pull their goalie with over 3 minutes to go, but unfortunately, they weren't able to score. Jake Evans would get the empty net goal, his 4th of the season, assisted by Nick Suzuki. So the Oilers would lose back-to-back games, once one in Toronto and one in Montreal. Would they able to somewhat salvage this road trip by getting a win in Ottawa? Again, you'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Montreal, a huge upset win, and I'll take any upset win at this point of the season. The Columbus Blue Jackets went into Boston to take on the Bruins. Dmitry Voronikov would kick things off for the Blue Jackets in the first, getting his 3rd of the year, assisted by Monahan and Fabro, 5:17 of the opening frame. Mathieu Olivier would get his 6th goal of the season, a shorthanded marker, still in the first period, unassisted, 10:39 of the first, increasing the lead to 2-0. James Van Riemsdyk, a former Bruin, would get his 3rd of the season from Werenski and Fantilli with 32 seconds remaining in the third. So I believe the Blue Jackets had a 3-0 lead heading into the second period. Charlie Coyle would finally get the Bruins on the board in the second, getting his 4th of the season, a power play goal from Brazeau and Lohrei, and that goal happened with 5.5 minutes to go. In the third, Justin Danforth would get a shorthanded goal, the second shorthanded goal for the Blue Jackets in this game, his 3rd of the year, assisted by Sillinger, 7:19 of the third. With 5 minutes and 50 seconds remaining, Yegor Chinnikov would increase the lead to 5-1, assisted by Monahan, and that's where we would stand at the end of regulation. So the Blue Jackets went into Boston and blew them out the Bruins 5-1. The Philadelphia Flyers played host to the Colorado Avalanche. There was no scoring in the first. In the second, Cale Makar would break the tie, getting his 7th goal of the season, assisted by McKinnon. I think it's nuts how he has 27 assists. That is just unreal. The guy's on pace to get like 80 or 90 assists. This is so crazy. And Devin Tays, or maybe he'll be like McDavid and get 100 assists. There's so much hockey left to be played, and he already has 27 assists. Just blows my mind. Anyways, that goal happened 8.5 minutes into the second period. He would score again his 2nd of the game, his 8th of the year, a power play goal from Mittelstadt and Rantanen, and that goal happened with 4 minutes and 52 seconds to go in the second. In the third period, Casey Mittelstadt would increase the lead to 3-0, getting his 7th goal of the season from Rantanen and Jonathan Drouin, 8:34 of the third period, putting them up 3-0. Owen Tippett would finally get rid of that goose egg on the board, getting the Flyers their first goal of the game, his 4th of the year, assisted by Konechny and Sanheim. Tyson Forrester would cut the lead to 3-2, getting his 4th of the season from Brink and Grands, I do believe, 13:32 of the third period. Unfortunately for the Flyers, they were not able to mount a comeback, so 3-2 would be the final score in favor of the Avalanche. All right, now we're off to Dallas as the Stars played host to the Anaheim Ducks. In the first period, not even a minute into the game, Olin Zellweger would open up the scoring, getting his 4th goal of the year, assisted by Ryan Strome. Brett Leeson would increase the lead to 2-0, getting his 2nd goal of the year, assisted by Menchukov and Radko Gudas, 5:44 of the first period. In the second, Cutter Gauthier, would increase the lead to 3-0, getting his 2nd goal of the season, a power play goal from Leeson and Killorn, 7:39 of the second period. As Lindell would finally get the Stars on the board, cutting the lead to 3-1, getting his 2nd of the season from Bourque and Jamie Benn, 3:31 of the third period. Matt Duchene would cut the lead to 3-2, getting his 10th goal of the year, assisted by Sagan and Marchment, 12:08 of the third. Late in the third, with 5.5 minutes to go, roughly, Jackson Lacombe would increase the lead to 4-2, getting his second goal of the season, assisted by Leaston and Gauthier, I believe, or Gauthier, one of the two. So that'd be the final score from Dallas, as Anaheim would go into Big D and double up on the Stars 4-2. The next game took place in Utah as the hockey club played host to the Capitals. It still sounds so strange. I really can't wait till next season when they actually have a name. Do anything. Do Yeti. Do something. Like, hockey club's starting to feel like football club from just a couple of years ago when Washington had to change their name. So in the first period, Jack McBain would get his 5th goal of the year, putting the hockey club on top from Stenlin and Ian Cole, 3:05 of the first. Dylan Strome would tie the game up at 1, getting his 6th goal of the year, 7:46 of the first period, unassisted. Nick Dowd would give the Capitals their first lead of the game. Still in the first, just 10 seconds after Strome scored, Dowd put the Capitals ahead 2-1, getting his 5th goal of the year from Duhaime and Radish. Alex Ovechkin, who was on a tear, and I'll get to his situation in just a second. To start the year, he would get his 14th of the year from Pierre-Luc Dubois, 11:05 of the first period. He'd get his second goal of the game, his 15th of the year from Carlson and Strome, a power play goal, 5:38 of the second, putting them up 4-1. Nick Bustad would cut the lead in half, getting his 3rd goal of the year from Schmaltz and Keller, 11:44 of the second period. Brandon Duhaime would increase the lead to 5-2. For Duhaime, that'd be his 4th goal of the year, assisted by Van Riemsdyk and Lars Eller, 7.5 minutes into the third. Alexei Protas would increase the lead to 6-2, getting his 7th of the year, assisted by Majapani, 9:56 of the third period. So the Capitals would beat Utah 6-2. But the big thing from this game, not that Ovechkin is slowly creeping in on Gretzky's goal record because he's off to such a hot start, it's that he actually got injured on like a really fluke, like knee-on-knee play. It wasn't dirty. It wasn't intentional. Both the players just happened to bump into each other at the same time. You can look it up on YouTube. I'm not going to play it because I don't want to get copywritten. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. And if I'm not mistaken, I seen a post yesterday that said that he's going to be out, I think, for at least 2 weeks. So it's a shame because he was on such a hot start to the season compared to last year when he was absolute trash to start the year. But we'll see how long he actually is going to be out for, how many games he's going to miss, and when he does come back, will he be back to form? Only one way to find out. And the last game from Monday took place in San Jose as the Sharks played host to the Detroit Red Wings. In the first period, Dylan Larkin would open up the scoring for the Red Wings, getting his 11th goal of the year, assisted by Edvinsson, 7:28 of the opening frame. William Eklund would tie the game up at 1, getting his 3rd goal of the year, a power play marker from Wenberg and Wallman. With 1 minute and 12 seconds to go in the first, Marco Kasper would put Detroit on top, getting his 2-1, I should say, getting his 2nd goal of the season from Gustafsson and Tarasenko, a power play marker. In the second period, William Eklund will get his 2nd goal of the game, his 4th of the season from Ferraro and Zetterlund, roughly 6 minutes in to the middle period. Michael Rasmussen would put Detroit on top 3-2, getting his 3rd goal of the season. It's an own goal. So what happened was he probably was the last Detroit player to have the puck, and then unfortunately it would have bounced off a San Jose goalie or player. Again, I don't want to play the clip for those 2 reasons that I previously mentioned. So if you want to look it up, just go on YouTube and look it up yourself. So yeah, Detroit would have a 3-1 lead at that point. Tyler Toffoli would tie the game up, getting his 9th goal of the year from Wenberg and Dellandrea, and that goal happened with 42 seconds to go in the second period. So I'm pretty sure we were all tied up at 3 heading into the third period. Luke Kunin would give the Sharks their first lead of the night, if I'm not mistaken, getting his 3rd goal of the year from Grundstrom and Thurn, 6:19 of the third period. With 2 minutes and 6 seconds to go, Alex DeBrincat would tie the game up at 4, getting his 8th goal of the year from Raymond and Larkin, a power play goal. This game would need overtime, and big surprise, Macklin Celebrini will get the game-winning goal for the Sharks, assisted by Grandland and Cody Ceci, 46 seconds into the overtime frames. The Sharks would come back, and like I said, they would end up winning this game in overtime. All right, that's going to take care of Monday's recap from the National Hockey League season. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. Until next time, and as always, take care.